I feel like Marathon changed the entire RV industry. We were the first to put Girard awning, motorized awnings on the roof.
Do you know how Marathon Coach got the name Marathon Coach originally? And you're employee number one?
I am, yeah.
That first year we probably sold, I would imagine, 50 new buses. I was like, wow, I was amazed that we could sell that many.
There was a particular artist came, she was worried about all the attention, so she came at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and we met with her until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Started in '83.
March of 1988.
That was back in 1994, and have been here ever since.
We've just stuck around and done what just a handful of people in the world get to do.
How did you originally learn about Marathon Coach, and what year did you start?
1994, I had recently graduated from the University of Oregon, and a high school friend of mine had said that his brother was the chief financial officer at Marathon. He said, hey, they were growing, they were busy, and he had too much stuff on his plate, so encouraged me to come out and interview. And so I interviewed with him and a gentleman by the name of Charlie Myers. That was back in 1994. And have been here ever since. It's one of the things with Marathon, we're very fortunate. It's a family-owned company. It's been a family-owned company for so many years. Bob Schellhorn bought into the company in '93 and then completed the outright purchase in '94. Then with his passing in 2017, Steve became the sole owner. And it was Bob's vision, and is still Steve's vision, that they want it to be a family company, and it is a family company. But they also want it to be a company, and that's one of the strengths of Marathon, is that we have great leadership and a great team throughout. I've been here 32 years. I still feel like I'm the new guy because we have so many people that have, 20 and 30 years experience, which in our industry is just, in most industries, most companies, it's unheard of. I think there's 10 of us on what we call our senior operations team. My 32 years, I think, out of that group ranks me number 6. It's a very experienced group and a fun group to be around. Very, very, very fortunate.
Started in '83, and we got a building and started building workbenches and things like that, getting the whole thing set up. So we started from ground up.
And you're employee number one?
I am. Yeah, we always had this dream of building the best coach money could buy, world's best coach. We had a dream of doing more custom coaches than production coaches, more in line with yachts and that quality. Always had that thought. It was fairly simple. We want to build the best money can buy. And we had a lot of craftsmen in this area, a lot. You can imagine the growth and technology that has advanced everything, and you're growing with that. The larger we got, the more specific we had people to do audio visual and electronics and engineering.
So I heard about Marathon Coach way back in the mid 80s, and so at the time I was working for another motorhome manufacturer, Class A manufacturer, in the same town. I had worked there in the mid 80s, left, and then came back they had started a bus division. They did 4 buses, and they said, that's enough. We don't need to do any more buses. Because it's just so different than Class A, production line. They're on the production line, the line moves every X minutes, and buses just don't go together quite that way. So we were in the middle of our last bus. What we didn't know, then they announced that they weren't going to do buses anymore. We were converting buses on Eagle chassis, and Marathon had purchased the remaining inventory. So there were 6 more buses that they had committed to. When they wanted to get out of that market, Marathon agreed to purchase their remaining 6 Eagle bus shells. And they said, so you're all welcome to go interview, if you want to follow the buses, they'd be welcome to have you guys all come and interview and see if you want to start work at Marathon. So I enjoyed the buses a lot more than I did the Class A motorhomes, just a lot more interesting work. So I went over there, applied, and I started in, that would have been March of 1988. Wow. And I started in the rough-in department. So fastening plywood to the walls and plywood to the ceilings and doing that sort of thing. and just went from there to a cabinet builder to what they called a coach super, which is a coach superintendent, which was kind of the construction supervisor on the coach, to brought into engineering as a project engineer, and then was the project engineering group leader, kind of oversaw the project engineers, and then late 1999 became the engineering manager, was the engineering manager into the summer of 2022, and then the summer of 2022 is when I transitioned into the director of product development. So more managing the product than the people. And so it's just been a fantastic job. Just, I get to design all day and just, create. It's been a great transition through all of those.
Yeah, very cool. So you started basically at the bottom and kind of worked your
Started
way
at the
up.
bottom, and I had quite a bit of cabinet experience. I'd done cabinetry at the motorhome manufacturer. I worked for a cabinet shop in Washington, and then did a lot of cabinetry on the buses. But coming into Marathon, it was, there wasn't any cabinet positions open, so started at Ruffin. I remember the first coach I worked on was the 35th coach. One of our project engineers, Mark Williams, he was the coach super on that coach. At that time, there was a lot of motorhome manufacturers in our county. Marathon was definitely the top of the heap because they had a feature on I think an entertainer coach or someone, because in the early days, a lot of entertainers were some of the clients. It was pretty cool being able to transition and then just do buses full time, because the Class A motorhome market's pretty high volume and just, schedules. It's just, the custom work was way more fun.
Now, going back to the early 90s when you first got your start here, what was your first position?
When I first started, I was the finance manager and was for a number of years. At that time, financing was a more prevalent way of purchasing the coach. And so we assisted all of our customers with that when needed. With that, had a great deal of interaction with our customer base. Then over the years, became more involved on the sales side. Was our sales director, the Western sales director for a handful of years, and then became the controller, and then eventually the chief financial officer, and now in my current role as chief operating officer.
Going back to when you started in the early 90s, what was it like here at Marathon Coach?
The early days for me was an interesting time because I was in my mid-20s and just I didn't know what I didn't know. With that, that first year we probably sold, I would imagine, 50 new buses. And it was like, wow, I was amazed that we could sell that many. And then it was the realization when January 1 rolled around of, how do we do this again? There's 50 more people that want these coaches, and thankfully there were. We probably had 300 or 400 employees at that point. We peaked at probably 450 in the early 2000s. And also peaked building 70, I think 72 was the biggest number that we hit from a manufacturing standpoint.
Kind of think of it the wild, wild west in those days, because as Marathon was founded in '83, in '88 it had been into it for 5 years. They started out on MCI chassis, and then were doing the Prevos. By the time I got here, said it was on the 35th coach. I think they would have called it 535, which meant the 5 was 5 years in business and 35 was the 35th coach. I was employee number 46, so I was the 46th employee ever hired. It was so different. I think at the time they would get a coach done between 1 and 2 months. So it was kind of between a 6 to 12. Being a roughing worker, I wasn't really in the know a lot of that early stuff, but I do know that after I was there for 4 months, we moved into another building and doubled production in the same month that we moved. I think the schedule said it was 12 a year to 24 a year and moved. So we went to a bigger facility, but it was a little bit chaos because we did everything ourselves. And the move was basically just across the street and up the block, a couple hundred feet. Those early days, everyone met, the entire production group met on the production, and we had a production meeting every day to talk about the coaches in production, because even at that time there was 3 or 4 coaches in production at any given time. They were a lot simpler. Everything was word of mouth. I remember when I transitioned into being a cabinet builder, I got one little page of some hand scratched notes, and it was basically it relied on the really experienced people to go in and just see the space, get some instruction, and then just build build the stuff. They had a basic floor plan that they worked from. Alan Christensen, who's employee number one, he used to go from coach to coach and explain to the coach supers and the technicians what needed to be done. And he would, most of his day, he would just go from coach to coach and bounce around. And this would have been about 89, but I remember he had came into my coach and he was trying to explain what needed to be done. And so he drew a sketch on the wall. And I happened to install a cabinet over the sketch. I didn't remember what the sketch, so I removed the camera so I could review the sketch and then put the cabinet back because there was no drawings. It was just a bunch of guys doing the best they could, just word of mouth, and really, super experienced crew that would just build from their experience. And it evolved into today, nearly everything, documented. It was, we talk about it kind of being the wild, wild west, because guys would have ideas and they would end up in the coaches, and then customers have ideas and they'd end up in the coaches. But it was a really small, just a small group, not like it is today, and just kind of stone knives and chisels for tools compared to what we have today.
How many from that group are still here today?
I'm not sure. So I think from a seniority standpoint, I'm number 46, but I think I'm 3 or 4. I think nearly, Alan's number 1. Mark Williams that I mentioned, he's employee number 25. And then we have Bob Chevry, our engineering manager, he's employee number 42, and then I'm 46. And so there's, I'm not sure, I think there's probably 20, 30 guys from way back then that are still, from the probably the early to mid 90s to now. A lot of guys, they fell in love with what we do. It's just a great community, and so we've just stuck around and done what just a handful of people in the world get to do. So we quite often have to stop and think, there's just a handful of people that get to do this. So, and we're those, we're a few of those lucky people.
Yeah, so going back to the early 80s there, mid 80s, when Marathon was just getting started, what was it like? How many coaches were you building? And then when did the Shellhorns buy Marathon?
Well, we went through a couple owners up to about 90 or 89. We grew out of the original building. We kept that as our service building, and then moved down fairly close to have production in a building there. So we were out of 2 buildings. Bob came by, he was driving through. He ended up buying a coach. Going over to the coast, he scraped a guardrail, I think, and that brought him back to Marathon. And I want to memorialize that guardrail because it changed our whole culture and our people. And you probably went through that yesterday. It hasn't changed. We're very casual, friendly, we're real. What you see is kind of what you get, and just kind of kept that culture going. Bob pretty much left us the leadership here. Again, he liked what we had. What we wanted to do was build this facility, because we're out of 2 at that time. We wanted to build a facility, so we looked around, and this was a nice area. It was all field in that, and it's like 13 acres or something. It was on an exit that you passed it both ways. One way you see in the building, the other way there was a big billboard there, and we had a billboard there, and so it was a really nice area to do that. One of our owners that bought us in '86, it was 3, Tom Nestel, Herb Nill, and Mike Jacques. They came to our Christmas party, really liked the culture and the attitude, and we were really together, we were close. Their plan was to build this facility that was made for building RVs instead of finding a building and then working it out. But Bob said, I didn't buy into this to stay where we are. I want to grow and continue that dream that you guys have. That's where he bought us out, I think around 91. I don't know the actual date, but I think it was around 91. He bought sole interest in it. He was just an incredible man. He would walk into a room, people just knew he was special. So he bought us out. Steve eventually took over, and he's head now, and phenomenal family.
What was your first position here?
Everything. Well, there were 4 of us, so we had to pretty much we subbed out a few things like upholstery and subbed out carpet. We would design cabinetry. I built it, electrical, did that. So we had to kind of share and do more things. So we had to do everything that was involved. We didn't have the computers and things back then like we do now, so a lot of it was just hand-drawn and being there and, you know, building this. We need the TV here, and it was pretty basic stuff, but you did what you had to do. You always had the dream of improving. We were constantly improving based on the technology available.
Over the years, were there any other like really big groundbreaking technologies or game changers in the coaches?
There's been a few things. One of the biggies, I feel like Marathon changed the entire RV industry. We were the first to put the Girard awning, motorized awnings on the roof. I've had Class A manufacturers tell me, hey, I'm not ashamed to say we just flat out copied you and put our awnings on the roof. We started that and everybody went to it, pretty much. I mean, you won't find hardly anybody that doesn't. And that was out of necessity. That was when Prevost changed from the XLV to the XL2 chassis. Those older coaches, remember the La Mirage windows, they were arched and there was sheet metal in between the panels. Well, when they went to the XL2, it was glass to glass. So you've seen the coaches with the Zip-D awnings where the arms mount to the side of the coach. Those had to glue to glass. We hated that. It's like, this is just not a good plan to have to glue those feet to glass. And so up at Prevost, Alan and I and Brett Fuller, our production manager, this would have been about 99, 2000, we were up at Prevost looking at the new chassis, and we hatched the plan we have to put these on the roof. And quite a bit more expensive than a manual Zip-D awning. Zip-D did have a motorized version, but it was kind of clunky, and it still would have needed to, you know, glue to the glass and all those sorts of things. So we started to develop that plan to put them on the roof. We actually hired an outside designer to design the roof caps back at that time, and we started putting them on the roof. We did a few coaches with the Zip-Ds, and I think every one of them, they brought them back in and paid to have all the paint redone, roof caps put on, the motorized awnings put on, and it just basically changed motorhomes because everyone is gone. And that set us up for, at the time, our previous general manager, he hated seeing roof airs on coaches. So we did if you're familiar with the Cruise Air, the split system where it's compressor in the bay and the evaporator inside. He never wanted to see those. Well, when we put the awnings on the roof, it hid the air conditioning. So that changed everything. It gave the customers more room inside. It gave us more design flexibility. The roofers revolutionized what we were able to do.
Changes early on, it was dramatic from the very beginning because right as I started, the 45s came out. And so people moving from just a 40-foot unit to a 45-foot unit was a dramatic change. Then not long after that, we saw the H345 chassis come about and people moving to that. Then you started seeing slide outs come into play. All of those changes were major changes for the industry. To see all of those changes over time was just, it was an incredible change. One of the great challenges in our industry is coming up with new ideas. It's formulating how to make that work and in essence, what moves the needle for people. One of the nice things with our size is we have 1,400 coaches on the road. And so we've got 1,400 people, couples that are telling us or can tell us how they want to use the coach. Then it's up to our group to decide, is it an individual preference or is that a preference for everyone in the marketplace? A singular item of that is the dinette table that I'm sitting at. One of the things that we heard of for years was, hey, when we have people over, we like to play cards, we like to play games. With the dinette, that works. However, with a lot of the coaches, the table and the dinette is up in the slide out. We redesigned the dinette so that it's sitting at floor level. So at this point, you can just bring in a regular folding chair and people can sit here and be comfortable. That's not true in every coach. Then there's like individual use and how people want to use their coach. We had a gentleman that he played piano. He wanted a piano in his bus. That's certainly something it's a unique piece, not something we're going to do for everyone. We ended up doing it. We put it at the very back of the bus. We recently did one that has 2 full bathrooms. It's not something you usually see in a Prevost. Is that floor plan for everybody? No, but it's an item that we can do. And I mean, we worked very hard on the modular design of our coaches overall, so that in a way you can plug and play the different pieces. And in that case, it was best for that customer to have 2 bathrooms, and it worked perfectly. We're one of the few that does bunk beds and does bunk beds regularly, and we do it in a manner in which when you're not using the bunk beds, they convert to a wardrobe, and you'd never know that it's a bunk bed. Again, utilizing our size, because we build more than 20 coaches a year, that we can do some things that maybe others can't through our ability to kind of go after the market in a different way. In doing that, we're also one of the few that you'll see that we have designer choice coaches available. Our preference is to have them always available. We know that people don't want to wait for a year or more to custom order their coach. We have great designers, we have great engineers that can put these coaches together and have a coach that's ready right now, including the coach we're sitting in. And we've been very fortunate to succeed in that way and grow the company to be the world's largest Prevost converter.
We counted yesterday over 68 people that have been with Marathon Coach over 10 years. What is it about Marathon Coach that you're able to keep that type of employee retention rates, which is unheard of in the RV industry?
We've done leadership training for a number of years, and it's been led by Carol White, a former executive VP for us. One of the things that he instilled from the very first meeting on that was he'd always pose the question to the group of like, what business are we in? And inevitably people are going to say it's the bus conversion business, we're in the sales business, we're in the service business. Carol would smile and shake his head, no. And then once the guesses slowed down, he would remind everyone, we're in the people business. It's the people business for us internally in taking care of the people in the building. It's the people business from the standpoint of taking care of the customer base. If you don't react to the people, then the business isn't going to be successful. And that's true of any business. It's not just the bus conversion world. That's true if we were selling lollipops on the corner.
What do you think it is about the culture here that there's such high employee retention, unlike anywhere else in the industry?
I agree with you. After the recession, that era would go, a lot of people returned. They came back and they liked it here. I think it's, again, the company's environment and just the way they take care of people. It's always been caring about people. The culture and the ownership, they allow that, and I think that transmits to the customers that come in, transmits to you. We didn't set up anything here. We didn't do any special. Andrew Man of Steel is coming in, and you're a thing. But there was no big huddle up with all the people. They're just who they are. And it's real. Customers, we had a pair of customers that came in Tuesday, and they've been up here every day just to see us, not to redesign a new coach. We're friends. I feel comfortable calling almost anybody and talking to them. Good memories, good people, and nice environment to be here. Charlie Myers, what he used to say, do the right things for the right reasons and be fair. And it was things we started with, and we keep developing. We keep trying to learn new things, test things as much as possible before we implement them. Want to make sure they work, reliability. And everybody owns their job, you know. They want to do the best they can. And I think Jamie mentioned it the other day that if something's not right, they'll catch things before it even gets noticed. And yeah, I did this and didn't think it looked right. So it's really talented folks here and specialized.
What other big, like, monumental changes in manufacturing do you recall?
For us, I can think of, I'm going to go to technology. Between CAD and computer technology and equipment, for us, we were all doing, paper and pencil and hand drafting until about 96, and then we started using AutoCAD. Fantastic. I mean, worked great, but to take it to the next level, what really changed 3D CAD software. And The 3D CAD software allows us to design virtually. Where in the past, we had to make all these physical prototypes and to see what something might look like. We developed a CAD system with our CNC. We got our first CNC router in 2005, 2006, and boy, that changed everything. We actually created our own interface so we can design a cabinet and program it for our router in a few button clicks. Our CNC router just really changed it for us. Having everything at that point, having basically nearly everything documented electronically, so we have this electronic record of our production. It changed everything from floor plan design, cabinetry design, all those sorts of things. Just being able to do it virtually is just, it's hard to imagine when I think back how was I able to do it with pencil and paper, because the tools of just with the internet, and now as AI comes in, that's a whole nother level of tools that we have at our disposal. Really changed it. Our modular floor plan system kind of was a dream years ago, and now I can't say for sure. I want to say that we're the most diverse from a floor plan standpoint. We offer way more selections than most anybody else, and technology has allowed us to do that, and experience. I mean, we have an incredibly experienced engineering staff. Now you have to wonder when you see pictures, are they AI generated, or are they actually, is it an actual real built coach? Cool thing here is we can show at any given time, we can show coaches in production and show, things that are being done.
You said you're building over 20 coaches a year. What blend of quad slides versus triples versus doubles and then X versus H's are you currently building?
In most years, we usually build about 25% of our production is on the X chassis. Those, of course, are all double slides. Of the remaining that are H's, we'll probably build 50% that are double slides, and then the balance being triples and quads. And that mix changes every year.
What do you think the reason that there's such a demand for double slide coaches is?
What we see is that for people that travel a lot, a double slide is it's easier to deal with. You have half as many slides to put out. And so with that, for those people that travel a fair amount and want to travel a fair amount, a double slide makes more sense. If you're someone who prefers to stay in a park for an extended period or stay in one location for an extended period, then a triple or quad slide makes more sense. It all comes down to personal use and personal preference. The final decision on double, triple, or quad and how that product mix works for us, it's driven by the customer. They're going to determine what we build, and they're going to determine the quantities of such.
I can't get you guys to name drop at all. I've even seen, I think the biggest male pop star of my generation was just in a marathon coach all over a mainstream publication, but you guys still won't name drop. But are there any cool stories, working with these A-list celebrities and these really unique people?
In a way, we're perfectly suited for it because, we have a very demanding clientele already, and that's the world that they're from too. In essence, it fits perfectly. It's interesting seeing them come through. We've had guys and actors in silk pajamas coming through shooting hoops at break time with some of our guys, and
A-list actors too.
Yes, A-list actors. It's not the usual, and Steve Schulhorn and I have talked any number of times through the years of man, you just never know what's going to happen on any given day, and whether that's with an A-list actor or the customer that we sold a bus to 5, 6, a dozen times. It's a unique world each and every day.
Did you ever interact with the customers back then, or do you remember any crazy stories of any customers from the early days that were really memorable?
A lot of the interesting ones are with high profile clients that meeting at odd hours, odd times. I've met with clients in Burbank, California. That was another interesting one. We've met with clients at shows, but typically people come here, and for the most part, it's just normal folks just looking to get a great product built for them. And there's a lot. I could talk forever.
What's some good stories?
There was a particular artist came. She was worried about all the attention, so she came at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and we met with her until 2 o'clock in the morning. Because we knew at that time we did have a swing shift. That would be the least amount of people, because at the time she was, she was a big star that just had a lot of following, and she really wanted to focus on, getting the coach design while she was here. We had another high profile client that showed up in pajamas for the spec meeting. The gentleman was, it was fun. It was super fun. He went out and shot baskets with the guys, went out and smoked cigarettes with the guys that smoked cigarettes, and it was a really fun time. He actually provided his own floor plan. Like, he drew stick figures, and some of them he put X's over their eyes, I'm not sure for what reason, but oh my gosh, it was cool. It was fun. It's one of my favorite stories because Alan Christensen and I finished it up at 12:30 at night. And that was back when the economy, for those who've been in the RV industry, the economy had a real low spot in 2008, 2009. And this coach was finished in, I think, about 2010. And we finished the coach because there wasn't very many employees at Marathon at that time. And so we finished the coach. My wife brought us dinner because we were the detail and the final finish crew at the end, because there was just nobody left. That was one of my favorite moments. We probably shouldn't say this, but we toasted champagne when it was done. It's one of my probably top 2 favorite memories, how we finished a coach and then toasted champagne when it was done.
That had to be a really tough kind of era. A lot of RV companies, especially in this area of Lane County.
That was a tough time, and I think that really speaks to Marathon's resiliency, because at the time, just a few years before, RV manufacturing overtook timber as the #1 industry in our county. There was like 9 RV manufacturers in Lane County, and we had 350 employees, I believe, at the time, and we went down to 35.
Wow.
And so engineering, we had, I think there were 16 or 17 of us in engineering. I was the engineering manager at the time. We went down to 4. We had myself, and I was doing like the cabinetry design and those sorts of things. We had a mechanical designer, we had an electrical engineer, and then we had a helper to help with just everything. So there was 4 of us. I myself had designed cabinets, went down and built some cabinets, went and installed some cabinets, and by the time I got done with that, we had enough work where I could be back up in engineering full time. It was incredible because right before it had, we just a few years in, probably 2006, 2007, we were close to 60 coaches a year.
Wow.
And then we went down, the fewest we did was 3. That particular story I told about Al and I finishing that coach, that was, I think, one of the years we did 3. And so it was a crazy, crazy time. Being able to persevere through that and, come back and then to be what we are today. And the entire industry shifted. So many manufacturers went out, and so many manufacturers we were all doing way more coaches. And then as that transition, the coaches got way more expensive, and that shrank the market, and so the market shrank quite a bit. But it was great from the coach standpoint. They just exploded in their what all the manufacturers offered: more equipment, more features, better paint jobs, better materials. It just really expanded. But man, that was a tough time. It's just crazy to think to go from 350 to 35 and make it through. And I believe we're the lone RV manufacturer left in the county.
That time window was a very difficult time for the industry, for the country, and it was 100% the confidence of the Shellhorns and the Shellhorn family, just their commitment to the company and the marketplace. They knew that this was still a business they wanted to be in, and in a market that would be successful. It was incredibly difficult. Those times were not simple. Difficult decisions had to be made, as a lot of companies had to make. We came out the other side and were able to grow again and be successful and put us in position for success today. As we came out of it and started to grow back, we had the opportunity to reestablish ourselves, and the numbers that we were building were quite a bit less. I mean, we were building 70 at one point. I think coming out of it, we started with 3. As we started to grow, we were able to grab the best of the best and continue our growth through that window of time. We're thankful that we've got, 60 or 70 great people that have been with us over 10 years. It's a good combination of experience that allow us to continue on and continue into the next 40 years.
A customer it was a very unique coach, and I think it may have broke the hour bank, the highest hour coach of all time at the time, but he was a really fun customer. and he had a lot of super unique ideas. One of the unique things was he could have an office in his bay. He had hidden compartments with secret ways to open them for security. He had a $500,000 painting in his bedroom that he lost the paperwork on, and had he not lost the paperwork, he said it was a $2 million painting. He had a lot of things in the dash, 2 cell phone holders and special snack trays, and just it was a really challenging coach. But what's memorable for me is only a couple times I've actually been with the customer on the walkthrough of their coach when they first see it. And this particular customer, I was there for the walkthrough, and he was a really particular client, not easy to please. We had a great relationship, so he had a lot of trust in me. It was one of those top 5 memories because he was so blown away and so surprised by so many things. And he's not someone that shows a lot of emotion. He was so excited and thought so much of it. And about halfway through the coach, he started using my name as a verb, which was fun. He J'd this and he J'd that and he J'd this. Oh, that's a J thing. And it was so fun because I'd never really been through a coach with a customer for their first initial. You know how that is when you walk in a coach and we don't even own them, and it still can be pretty amazing when you walk in and you see this stuff. And this was his project, and he was so excited, and just using my name as a verb, that will be a memory of mine forever. But the reward at the end was really cool because he was so overwhelmed, and he was someone that you don't think could get that way, and yet he was. And so that was definitely a special memory. One of the floor plans, it was Coach 1323. It was a brand new floor plan we'd never done before. It had a water closet. Mostly we do pocket doors in all of our water closets and bathrooms. This particular one had a swing door because the swing door integrated in and it just looked like a door. And I remember a customer, a salesman telling me they went from front to back, and they came back and they said, he goes, well, what do you think? He goes, well, we like it, but we really like it, but there's only one bathroom. He says, no, there's 2. There is? He walked over and there's the wall with the art recess in it. In the opening, there's a little lip there to use as a handhold. And he pulled the thing open and revealed the hidden water closet, and they just like, oh my gosh. And so as a designer, you get a real kick out of hearing things like that. That was the objective, to try and just make this thing look like a hidden art, and it ends up, transition. There's a bathroom behind it. Our customers are our number one priority. If we're not impressing our customers and meeting their needs, we're not going to be in business long. So we know they appreciate all those sorts of things. And, over the years, it's just kind of become a marathon tradition, or it's just a marathon design where they do some things that are a little bit different, a little more stealthy. We love stealth and just trying to make things look more integrated. And really, everything has started from customer driven. And then you learn your customers, and then you try and provide what the things that they like, and all those hidden compartments and different things like that. Being surprised, they like that because they like to show it off to their friends and family and surprise them.
You fooled me. I walked through one of those once.
Oh,
and I'm like, no, it's not a bath and a half, coach. I literally missed the whole half bathroom. Now, one of the coolest things, I think, it's so random, but whoever thought of the squeegee on the shower door where you press a button and it squeegees your shower door for you? So clever. Do you know the story behind that?
That was a team effort. So as a designer, Marathon, we really try and focus on usability. Over the years, we probably did more things. We're in this constant battle between form and function. It looks beautiful, doesn't operate that great. It has to work well. We talk about doing pocket doors because in a coach, swing doors are always in someone's way. And I always use the example when we talk about like a pocket door on a bathroom. At home, is your bathroom door normally shut or open? And everybody pretty much says, my door is normally open unless I need the privacy in the bathroom, and then it's shut. So why should a coach be different? Shower doors, same thing. Most of the double slide floor plans, basically any floor plan that doesn't have the bathroom in the back, the shower's in the hallway. Now we have the one design where the bathroom is on the side, so you can shut off the bathroom, but for the most part, so many coaches, the shower is in the hallway. And so when you swing the door open, it's gonna be in someone's way. That inspired by my home use of having cats and having litter boxes. And we put the litter box in a shower that we didn't use. And so I thought, well, the only way you can do that is you got to be able to leave the door open. And so one, I didn't, trying to get away from doors opening into hallways, let's put a pocket door on the shower. The very first pocket door shower was a steam shower. So as a steam shower, you need to seal the entire thing. And so the squeegee came out of, we have to be able to seal the shower enclosure because that very first one had a really nice shower seat in it, and underneath that shower seat was the steam generator for the steam shower. And so it was really out of necessity to seal up the compartment so when you were taking a steam, it wasn't pouring steam out into the hallway. But it started with not have a door swing into, and then it was the cool factor of, I can't say for sure, but I feel like it's the only pocket door shower in the world. Most shower doors, if they do slide, they're over another door, they don't go into a pocket. Pretty neat from the standpoint of having this pocket, and of course it's air operated, so you don't even manually have to do it. You hit a button. The cool factor was there, and just it made it so if a customer did have pets, they could put the pet bed or a litter box or something in the shower and leave the door open, which you couldn't do on a swing door. It was just one of those, as we got further into design, we needed this, and that, well, this is a squeegee too, this is great, win-win. So yeah, it just kind of evolved from, if had the first one not had the steam shower, probably wouldn't have had the squeegee on there.
Almost happened by accident.
I mean, there's a lot of things that have happened that way, that you get into it, and then by the time you design through all the challenges, you've come up with, you may have come up with a new thing or something cool. And that was definitely a cool side effect of needing to seal the shower and then having it seal the shower and squeegee your door off.
Dramatic changes include floor plan changes. It's going from 2 slides to 3 slides to 4 slides. How do you change that dynamic internally and then also work it with the base structure down below and still make the patio space usable? I still need a considerable amount of storage. One of the things that I've latched onto recently is a problem shared is a problem halved. With the number of people that we have around here, it's not any one person trying to solve those problems. That we do it as a group. In combination with that, we engage with our customer base so that their input's brought in as well. What things do they need? What things are important for them that allow us to build the best coach? That's what's most important. We can think that the coach is the greatest thing, but if our customer doesn't think it's great, we've built a collection piece.
Now, Marathon Coach is the only Class A luxury RV company that has service centers on the East Coast, West Coast, and Central United States. When did Marathon Coach expand beyond Oregon, and how did that look?
We expanded into Florida in the mid-90s. We expanded that facility again in 2006 because of customer demand. Then opened our facility in Texas in the early 2000s and have been there the last 25 years. We're very fortunate that we've got the 3 facilities. With a vehicle that has wheels, it's important that you've got service wherever you want to travel. And so being in the 3 locations we feel really fortunate that we've got all areas of the country covered. In combination with that, we have service vehicles that will get out and about. And whether it's at some of our rallies or during winter months, we'll have service techs at various locations to be able to help the customers in those areas as well.
Where do you see Marathon Coach going in the future?
I think the future of Marathon Coach is, bright. I'm excited. I can't divulge anything, but we're working on some fun, exciting new stuff. I'll give you an example. We're working on something that we visited 25 years ago. We abandoned it 25 years ago. We're going to revisit it today. We have a solution that we didn't have 25 years ago, and so just personally, I'm very excited about what's coming up. That looking for a few of those things that may, change the industry, things that are just different, and so really excited about that. It's fun for me as a designer to think about some of the things, that we may be able to do. So the future's really bright. I see some new things that I think we're going to be able to do. Optimistic that we'll be able to do them in a sooner rather than later timeline. Our number one resource is our people, and so continue to find great people. I come up with designs, Alan comes up with the designs, we push to the edge of the envelope for our people, but they pull it off. So, in the end, without them, it just isn't going to happen. But I'm very excited about what's potentially coming up, because looking at some different designs, newer designs to yeah, hopefully give our customers a reason that can't say no. I mean, in the end, that's what we're shooting for. Is you just can't pass on it. You got to get it. You know, it's too good to pass on. So we have a lot of loyal customers. I think we have a customer that just purchased their 6th marathon, something like that. And so because they last so long, we have to come up with new and better things because they don't wear out. So I know it's fun for you, I'm sure, to see some of those older coaches that look almost showroom like. You know, they just 20-year-old coach that looks almost like it just came off the production floor. But as far as marathon, boy, we've covered a lot of ground. We enjoy people to come out and see what we do. I think the thing that I appreciate about our ownership is all of our transparency. We can show what we do. We don't have to just tell you because we can show it, and we invite people to come and see what we do because we're not trying to hide anything.
I'm excited about the future. One of the things we do is we have a group called our innovations team, and it's a mix of people throughout disciplines, service center, sales, engineering, myself, that have customer contact where we're always coming up with new ideas, be it floor plan, technology, just user utility. We have a broad mix of people that bring forth those ideas. And then months later, once we get them in a coach, it's fun to see those ideas in action. We have a whole lot of young talent in the building as well. And I have to include myself in this now as well as I get older and older each year. But seeing the transfer of information and the transfer of talent to younger folks is tremendous. It's a huge benefit for us. One of the exciting things for me is when we get new people in, because new people bring new ideas. It's very easy, especially for us that have been here 30 plus years, to just remember how we've always done it. And it's something that we fight every day. And we want new ideas, and having younger people that have different experiences and different needs, different desires, that helps us grow as well. And then makes the product more marketable for new people as well. One of the exciting things for us over the last 5 or 6 years, the advent of working remotely and seeing people being able to use a coach and work remotely is a huge benefit. Who wouldn't want to utilize a coach like this to work remotely wherever you want to be?
Steve, it's been an honor to hear some of your stories and some of the original employees here. Really appreciate the opportunity. Now, if someone wants to learn more about Marathon Coach, what's the best steps for them to take?
Thank you guys for coming out. I mean, we've had a great time with having you here. And the easiest way is to reach out to our website and go to the Contact Us page. That's the simplest and best way to reach out and maybe buy the coach we're in.
Awesome. We'll make sure to leave marathoncoach.com in the description below. Really appreciate all of you guys and appreciate you, sir.
All right. Thanks, Andrew.